mean, I do have amendments, but I'd like to start with your reaction to the comments we just heard, particularly as they relate to the small businesses. And just general reactions to this.
Well, I think one of the issues in terms of the way the ordinance has been written, I think it does allow small businesses to participate. One of the issues was you're basically taking an underutilized property and you're improving the value of that property. As long as you're improving it by 100% of the existing value, then you're eligible. So, for example, if Dave Harvey Jeweler, when they did their improvements to their property, assuming that that was 100% of the value, and I'm not sure it was when they actually did, but they would ultimately be eligible.
So you're saying there's no size minimum, so anybody could use it, right?
No, you know there's not.
Right, and I'm just,
Right.
let's make sure you're on the record. I know there's not. I just want to make sure everybody understands that.
Speak a little louder.
Oh, sorry.
I understand there's no size minimum, but does it in a way advantage a larger?
Well, I think it's fair to say there's a size minimum. It's 100% of the overall value of the
and
existing
therefore,
property.
a developer that can scale up to that extent will have an advantage, yes.
Well, for example, if your property is worth, let's say, $500,000, ultimately you would have to be doing 100% of that value in terms of your improvement to the property.
Right.
And that's where you're getting the scale associated with what you're adding to the grand list.
Amendment to your.
Are there any other just points to that before he goes? Oh.
How you gonna?
He
how you-
just has amendments that he wants to propose.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to speak before that or if you wanted to hear them.
Well, because I have some questions about some of the left outs in this, but I got to, my first question is when we got the revised map and all that, why in God's earth do we include the hospital in this? They have 1 million jobs. And now we include the property, we just sold them property so they can build a medical facility. First thing I'm gonna cut out is them. Why put on for an organization, because it's a regional organization now. It's not the little old North hospital that most of us grew up with. That was more local. So I don't understand why the dotted line extended all the way up the hill. Didn't include the apartments or the houses up in Dover and all that, which maybe you wanna do something with. I just don't, that's my number one, is like, if, I would move to modify that map to exclude the YMCA property and the hospital property, number one. But why was that included? What's the thought process there, that they need tax on something?
There was a sense of having consistency with the plan area as it was proposed relative to Wall and West Avenue.
The hospital's on Maple Street, not West Avenue.
That's the plan area for the Wall West Avenue redevelopment.
Well, you cross Van Buren Avenue, so is there a reason you didn't go up to the rest of the house and on the other side? Why is, this is the map I'm going with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And why isn't everything up to Van Buren Avenue included then? All the housing, apartment houses and two families, et cetera, back there is totally cut out.
Again, because that's significantly residential.
Okay,
And
but
we didn't
isn't
see,
that, aren't we,
we didn't see a lot of commercial activity that would be happening there.
but somebody could put properties together and build bigger apartments.
I don't think that's what we're looking for, though.
Okay.
I think, you know, actually, I know the agency actually opposed the hospital relative to taking historic properties and making them a parking lot.
I'm not questioning, I just don't see any reason at all to include the hospital property up on Maple Street, and then the property just gave them. Two, I've just got some individual questions I want to ask here, but was it no you said? You said not so no, but it's no up Noah, North Noah. And it's kind of like, this was labeled originally an innovation district. An innovation district means that we're doing something totally different we haven't done before in the city of Noah. That's what innovation does to me. Now you've rebranded it and then took away the innovation district. The thing is, that during rebranding, which I don't understand, protections about trying to what is it we really want, which I've been asking for day one, became the Chinese menu, all right, again, with that, we put everything that zoning, you can build underneath zoning, and threw it in the hopper and says everybody eligible for that. So it's more of the same old, I'm calling so-so, all right, of what we already got now. Waypoint was all built underneath existing regulations. There were no incentive for Waypoint to do anything else but what it is. The stuff they have approved is all underneath zoning regulations,
Except that you did provide incentives for that development.
only in the sense of physical street works of public right-of-ways.
Infrastructure work.
Correct.
Yep.
But not tax incentives. There are no direct tax incentives in that.
Correct.
Okay, so that was part of the process, and I think that's what we're hearing here, and I understand too, you know, you've heard me say, because you've been around me long enough, that I said a long time ago, I said, we need to bring Disney in to figure this out. And I said, it wasn't for Minnie Mouse or Mickey Mouse. The thing is that Disney has the ability to theme something out and come up with a plan and saying, if you do work toward this plan, all right, you can create whatever it is you want to create, all right? And we haven't done that, and I don't mean that, there's no disrespect what I'm saying, it's frustration when I'm talking. I've been with 5 mayors, this is the new one coming up, it's the 5th plan I've seen for the Wall Street area, all right? 5 plans, and we can't even get the fence around the park, Freeze Park, on the other side of the parking lot fixed. All right, we had a new bridge put in. And I think
Mr. Hudson,
that,
just give me 1 second. While I understand the emotions in the audience, the public hearing is closed, and this is really an opportunity for council members to ask questions and deal with whatever, so just please refrain from the clapping.
so I'm not
So we
thinking,
can
it's
get
just,
these
I
And I
know part
think
of,
you know we've been the biggest advocate for that part.
I know, and I've had more
Advanced
to,
that request.
and I'm not thinking redevelopment for that, don't misunderstand.
And I do want
It's
to
a
clarify.
city, it's a city issue.
But Counselor, I do want to clarify the point that you made, This is not a redevelopment agency-driven initiative. This stemmed from the mayor's office, it came to the planning committee, and it's a planning committee initiative.
Right.
The redevelopment agency has nothing to do with tax agreements. That is the sole purview of the Common Council.
I didn't say you.
You did say you.
But on the plan, I asked, why is a map designated? Because it's an area map. But, so, overall, I've been trying to do this, what I said from day one, we've now made it even broader than it was before. I want to talk a couple spots. We took out the protection from just what we got, what I thought was happening. The people who want this aren't showing up, and there's probably 2 of them, all right, who are not showing up to speak out for this plan, all right, who would have been eliminated because we've originally had in there that if you were already approved for a project, that would you had your zoning approvals and that, you were not eligible for this program. That's been unwritten from here, all right? Now it's anybody, it's if you have a building permit, that's it, all right? So we seem to make this broader in an arena that we can't compete with Stanford. If you follow planning, and I've spoken to by some of the people here, but if you follow what's happening in other cities and other ways, it's the micro businesses that are driving a lot of the futures of cities now, and not the macro. And that's what we should figure out how to energize. And to be honest with you, I didn't get anything back, but I went to figure out the opportunity zones that were recently passed and why this started in September, the opportunity zones, they designate that area. From a fear factor of the big players really coming in and buying up, that plan put in by the government has really the ability to bring in huge amounts of money into the city of NOLA. Huge developers. Because there are significant tax benefits for large developers to be able to write off and invest. It's going to bring big money to town. I don't think we need this. I think that should be right, be the overriding factor right there and be like, okay, how can we piggyback on that? And how can we enhance the area to make it more attractive versus more taxes? Because if I'm following my logic, if single-family homes in NOAA, which we heard from the tax assessor, is over 50% of the tax revenue for the city of NOAA, and housing prices are basically flat unless you're in row 8 and are on the water in East NOAA, then what incentives are we offering homeowners to fix up their homes fix up their landscaping, all right, and offer them a tax incentive to get the values of the houses up. There's nothing in the books for that. So we're incentivizing an area that has already had a significant growth without any tax incentives. We've made it, everything's included. There's no analysis, and I've had this discussion before, there's no analysis that we keep building mixed use, all right, when we still have empty spaces in the new mixed-use places that have already been built. And at one point is there a saturation point? What is the ratio? Why not build a new apartment house without something underneath if that makes sense? Because New York City isn't all mixed use all over the place. So, I'm not in favor of the plan, but I'm always one of those, I'm willing to at least try and discuss some things I think we should tighten up on if it passes to protect the city of Noah. Tom, I agree with what was just said. You've done a fabulous job in tightening us up from the first one.
But yes.
Well, whatever the hint is, it's just, I think we need to really think about this and saying, do we really need it? Let alone do we need it on top of this? Because we haven't studied this plan from the feds to really understand what kind of impact this can have to this area, and it's huge. It's huge.
Just to be clear on that, though, that is equity funds.
But that brings the
Equity.
players in.
That brings
And the
equity
players-
financing in. And the
Right.
funds are gonna be looking for a return on that investment.
And it's here. You do not need to incentivize this any more than this federal plan. Trust me.
Okay.
But I'm also, why do I, as a no walker?
I don't think there's enough knowledge out about the specifics of that
Why do,
program.
what? Look, for the record, I pushed for the enterprise zone for the mall. For the record. I got burnt. I got burnt because it became a mall. All right? It wasn't intended to, the intent was to try and compete with Sanford for a mixed use, what I thought was a decent development that had 500,000 square feet of office space in it. All right? Taken advantage of, and the city capitulated and turned it into a mall. All right? So, you're right, when somebody said that if I could undo something, I would have undone that, or put more protections in it, but I don't see the necessity for this ordinance in this area, especially since the state now, along with the feds, have designated a federal program. And I
I
don't,
don't think you have the right perspective of what the federal program is bringing to the table.
You know what?
And maybe there should be further conversation about that.
there
before you're
probably should be a
talking.
whole education process about that,
I
between
don't
the
disagree
property
with
owners
that.
that are there and us.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
think-
saying it's wrong.
I think the council should be informed about what that program is actually bringing.
So the driving force behind this, well, if I'm hearing it correctly, it's not a redevelopment force that's driving this. All right, so they're, from an agency point, not alone that, but the board itself, I guess, is not pushing for this, right, the commission? This thing
No,
come
the
out of the
commission
commission,
has no
right?
involvement in this, in terms of ultimately making any decisions relative to
In terms of
taxes.
making a decision.
Right, so in other words, it's not being driven by the redevelopment, looked at this area and says, we need this to get things going, this came out of the mayor's office. I'm not being negative, I'm just saying this is where it came from. I've said my piece, but